Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be talking to you today about More Than a Volunteer. This week we're going through chapter 1, and even though I wrote the book, I have my book, because it's an ebook, it's online with a PDF. I've printed it and put it in my own binder, and there you see it, More Than a Volunteer. Here's the deal. The first two people who comment below as to why you volunteer and why you stop volunteering will get a free copy of More Than a Volunteer. When I first started writing the book, I started gathering all the information, but what I realized is before I could understand how to recruit volunteers, I needed to understand why they were volunteering. So what I did is I went and took a survey, and in that survey, I found a lot of different reasons why people are volunteering. One of them is they want to be a part of a team. One of them is people want to feel part of a community. They want to give a back of time. They feel like they have time they want to get back. And so that was good to see. It was a common thread. Most people, the big reason they volunteer is they want to be a part of something important, something valuable, and to be a part of a team and a community and feel useful. So as we're learning on looking at how we're going to train volunteers, we need to take that into consideration. People want to be a part of something valuable. So the other thing I did was I asked the question, why do you stop volunteering? That is a hard one to look at, and that's something that as leaders, whether we're leaders of a children's ministry or whether we're leaders of a greeting team or worship team, we need to take an honest look sometimes as to why our volunteers are quitting. Sometimes it's because life happens, and that's okay. But sometimes it's because of the way we're leading them. And a lot of the reasons and the answers why people stopped volunteering were they didn't feel part of a team, they felt overlooked, they felt used, they felt like things were not organized when they would start volunteering. And so the thing there is a lot of that comes down to us as leaders, which we'll get into later, but we need to be aware of why people volunteer. We also asked why you stop volunteering, but also do you prefer to be asked to volunteer or do you prefer to volunteer yourself? So a lot of those questions I've answered in the book, but the big thing we want to look at today and talk about is if we know why people are wanting to volunteer, we can actually engage them better as leaders and how to invite them in, because ultimately it's not about what they can do for us. It's about how we can help them serve and be all that God created them to be. And that is the thing is we have to step back and look at the volunteer as a whole. And that's important. The other thing we want to know is right now with COVID and with churches being shut down and not really ministering, there are a lot of people reevaluating why they are volunteering. Why do I give my time? Has my church reached out to me during this time? That's a big one I've heard is, I give every Sunday, but I haven't heard anything from anybody at my church. So people with COVID are not that they have COVID, but during this COVID period pandemic are actually reevaluating how much time they're going to give again. Some people are feeling like, I've slowed down and maybe I don't want to give as much time, or maybe the church hasn't reached out to me and I need to evaluate that. We want to make sure we are reaching out, especially during this time, because whether they serve or not, people are in a time of loneliness, isolation, and they need to feel like they're a part of community, even if we aren't meeting on a Sunday morning. So we want to make sure we check into that. And people are also reevaluating their priorities, their time schedules, what they're going to have time to volunteer. One of the questions was, how many hours do you volunteer a week? And it's actually only 2 to 5 hours a week. So as leaders, we need to be looking at that and thinking each person only has 2 hours to give. Where do we want that to be? Some people give on a Sunday morning. Some people are willing to come in and serve as a front desk and help. I remember we had a sweet lady that come in every Monday and just answer the phones. And that was awesome because that's what she wanted to do. She's there for 3 hours every week. But people are reevaluating, and we want to make sure that what we're offering and giving them to be a part of is honoring of the time that they are committing. So today, take a look. I want you to take some time and ask yourself, why do I volunteer? Because I volunteer too, and I want to make sure when I'm volunteering, my time is used wisely, they're using my time wisely, those things. And also, when I quit, why do I quit? Because when we look at that, we can say, okay, why would people be stepping down? Why are people not sticking with my team? Those things, even though it's hard as a leader to see, actually make us more efficient as a leader. So we want to make sure we're evaluating ourselves in that, but also looking at the questions that are being answered. So for my help with my book and for future research, if you can just make a comment below. The questions today are, why do I volunteer? And actually add in how many hours you volunteer. And then 2 is, why do you step down from volunteering? Whether it's some people, we live on a military island, a lot of people stop volunteering because they're moving, and that's common. Some people have a life situation that just changes, and for maybe a couple months they have to stop volunteering, but then they come back. So just, I would like to see comments and see what everybody's saying, because really once we can understand why volunteers are volunteering, that gives us a better set understanding as we go into the next parts of the book. So again, the first 2 people who comment below get to have a free copy. I'll email it to you tonight. And everybody else, I'd love to hear your comments, and we'll be back next Wednesday when we talk about what is recruiting. So hope you enjoyed today, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.